Chapter 12, Onion Breath. We sat on my bed and unwrapped the box. It was larger than the last one, like a medium-sized shoebox. It was wrapped in brown paper and thoroughly taped. We struggled with the tape. Finally, I grabbed some scissors and cut it. Then we sat the box between us on the bed and looked at each other. Together, we lifted off the lid. All we saw was scrunched up paper, but when we pulled it out, we found a plastic spray bottle filled with a milky white liquid. "What's this?" Kyle asked, holding it up to the window. It was so dense we couldn't see the light through it at all. And yet, it didn't seem that thick when we just looked into the bottle. When we tipped it, it moved like water. I rummaged around until the rest of the scrumpled up paper and found an instruction sheet. I unfolded it and started to read it aloud. Dinosaur, too lively. What is alive will be still, but only if sprayed, when alive by the creator or owner. We glanced at each other. I'm the creator, and you're the owner, so I guess we both have to do it, I said. Kyle nodded. He took the sheet from me and continued reading. Spray all parts. Warning, it's essential not to spray anything you want to be able to move. Cover your skin. I could feel my eyes bugging out as I listened. Kyle suddenly looked pale. Are you sure we should do this? I asked. Clark, nothing else would work. He said, I think we both have to do it. And no one else can help us. Or he won't be alive when we spray him. He gulped. But I think we better do it very carefully. So Kyle and I collected gear. Long sleeve shirts, pants, runners, bike helmets, gardening gloves, bandanas for our face, ski goggles, a second spray bottle. We stuffed everything into a gym bag and told Mom we were going to Kyle's for a bit before dinner and headed to his house. We put on all of our gear in Kyle's dingy kitchen. We helped each other tie on bandanas, anchoring them with ski goggles, and pulled up our collars to protect our necks. We looked silly, like 4-year-olds pretending to be knights. We laughed at each other, but not very hard. The trickiest part was pouring half the solution into the second spray bottle. Kyle didn't have a funnel, so he just poured very, very carefully. He worked at the sink with gloves on and baggies over the gloves, but we still held our breath while he poured. 3 drops crawled down the outside of the bottle. I carefully wiped them off with paper towel and stuffed the paper towel into the garbage bag. Then we stood, looking at each other. Neither of us wanted to start. We can do this, I said, trying to sound brave. Sure we can, said Kyle. We can beat one weeny little dinosaur. I could tell from the look on his eyes that he didn't really think the beast was weeny. And neither did I, but we were both ready to pretend. Yeah, I said, we're much tougher than he is. I took a deep breath and let out my best dinosaur roar. Kyle looked shocked and then he grinned. I can roar louder than that. And he threw back his head and let loose a thundering roar that echoed around the room. I joined in and 2 of us sounded like rampaging dinosaurs. Then we heard an echoing cry from down the hall. We looked at each other, suddenly silent and weak-kneed. We gave each other a final check, tucking sleeves into gloves, adjusting our bandanas, and then we picked up our spray bottles and walked down the hall to Kyle's bedroom. Kyle's room was disgusting. It smelled like rotten meat, and the floor was covered in dirty clothes and torn papers. I couldn't tell how much mess was normal and how much was from the beast. I could hear him banging on the bottom drawer. I figured a drawer would work almost as well as the closet, Kyle whispered. So I put food and water inside. The beast leaped around the room in a rage, and when he gets hungry, he goes into the drawer. Then I slam it shut. I knelt by the drawer and held out my spray bottle. Kyle stood directly in front of the drawer, legs wide, mouth firm, spray bottle pointing at the drawer, and then he nodded. Slowly I opened the drawer just a little, and the beast screeched and clawed at the open edge. We both started squirting. It took a few pumps before my bottle started to work. Then white spray flew from it. It hit the beast's claw, and as he groped for a way out of the door, we heard a slight hissing when the spray hit his foot. Suddenly, the foot stopped. It just totally stopped, like it was frozen or something. The beast screamed and pulled his frozen foot back into the door. Kyle and I glanced at each other, wondering what to do next. The beast screamed again and threw his body against the door. The door tipped open just enough for the beast to climb out, screeching and leaping on 3 legs. We jumped back and took aim again. We started squeezing frantically, but he moved so fast, he was hard to hit. Kyle and I danced around the room, trying to keep out of his reach and spray the beast, but not each other. It was a good thing that there were no plants in the room. Spray went everywhere. Everywhere it hit something not alive. It was like spraying milk. But when the spray touched the beast, we could hear hissing. I felt the spray hit my helmet, and I got Kyle in the back, but we were covered, and the beast wasn't. The beast leapt at my legs, and in his fury, he climbed right up my pants. I jumped back in a panic and hit him with the base of my spray bottle, trying to make him let go. Finally, he dropped to the floor, shrieking, and gathered himself up for another leap. Kyle and I sprayed and sprayed and sprayed until we had no spray left. We were pumping the air. It took us a few moments to realize we were both pumping endlessly. Gradually, our hands slowed and stopped. We stared down at the beast. He looked like he was about to leap at us in fury, but he didn't move. We glanced at each other and leaned down for a better look. He still didn't move. Kyle touched the beast with his runner. The beast tipped over like he was just a model again. But he was much better than a model. Much better model than I had made. Much more lifelike, much more ferocious looking, and still had a nasty gleam in his eye. We kept glancing at him while we cleaned up. Kyle worried about all the spray in his room, but once it was dry, it didn't seem to do anything. We tested it. Kyle touched the very tip of his one finger to a dry spot and then rubbed his finger. It was fine. We both found spots that weren't. Kyle's right sleeve had slipped up his arm, and he had a numb patch just above his glove. And when Kyle had sprayed my helmet, some dripped onto the edge of my left ear and left a little numb patch. I ran my finger up and down the edge of my ear, from feeling to numbness to feeling again. Once we had cleaned everything up, Kyle and I stood staring down at the beast. It felt like he was looking at us, even though we knew he wasn't. We could still feel his malevolence. What to do? Oh, what do we do with him? I asked. I don't want him. Me neither. I could send him to my mom, Kyle said with a nasty grin. Let her live with him. I shuddered. No, that's too mean, I said. Even when he's just a model. So what do we do? He's so nasty looking, no one would want him, I said, looking down at him, unless they really, really loved ferocious dinosaurs. So who loves dinosaurs even more than you do? Kyle asked. Well, no one, I said. No one I know of except... I stood there thinking, what? Well, the Tyrrell Museum collects dinosaurs, and they must really, really love them. Maybe we should send him there. Kyle started laughing. And if he came back to life, they'd know just what to do. So we found a box, packed up the beast, mailed him to the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology in Drumheller, Alberta. No return address. Monday morning at school, Kyle and I met up first thing. I brought a book for you to look at, I said, and I groped around in my backpack and pulled out a book on feathered dinosaurs. He laughed when I showed it to him. Soon, a couple of other kids were edging closer to take a look. They gathered around to see the pictures, and then they started peppering us with questions. It's Luke's book. Ask him, Kyle said. And they did. And they called me Luke, not Clark, or Lark, or even Lucas, like my mom or dad. Just Luke, and I liked it. Then I saw Kyle getting pushed back from the book. I said something about the sounds dinosaurs might have made, and then I nodded at Kyle. You should hear Kyle's dinosaur roar, I said, and they turned to him, their face a weird mix of curiosity and fear. When he roared, their nervousness changed to shaky laughter, replaced by real laughter, as we all roared. After school, Kyle came over to my house. Mom had cookies waiting. "Hi, Kyle," she said, smiling. "It's good to see you." He smiled back. We ate many cookies as we could before Mom stopped us, and then we took Steggy outside. Kyle wandered around the front yard for a few minutes to let Steggy graze in the backyard. Then he joined me. As soon as he came around the corner, Steggy quit moving. "It's hard to believe he's real," Kyle said, watching Steggy sit in the garden. "Smell his breath," I said. "Huh?" "Smell his breath. He's been grazing on chives. See where they've all been chewed down? Chives smell like onions. So smell his breath." Kyle picked him up and took a deep breath. "Ew, you're right. This is so cool." "I could make you one," I said. "You could? Well, I have enough potion left for one more. But it would have to be a nice one, like Steggy." "But how would it be real for me?" "Well, you'd have to steal it, I guess." Kyle looked uncomfortable. I don't want to steal from you." "Well, it won't work if I say you can take it, will it?" Kyle grinned. "Right. So go make yourself another dinosaur." "Or maybe," I said, "we could make it together, and then it could be alive for both of us from the beginning." Kyle grabbed Steggy, and we raced upstairs to look through my books to choose a dinosaur. "We could make another Stegosaurus," I said, "and then they could play together." "Who could?" asked Kyle. "Your dinosaur and Steggy." "Oh, except Steggy could never be real for you," I sighed. "It would be so much more fun if they could both be real for both of us." I looked around. "Where is Steggy?" Kyle turned a page of his book. "Oh, I put him down somewhere," he shrugged. "But I couldn't see him. I couldn't see him, but as I looked around, I noticed Kyle's backpack moving. "Kyle, what's in your backpack?" I asked. Kyle flushed. He leaned down to open it and lifted out Steggy. "I thought if I stole him, we could play with him. We could both play with him." I grinned as I watched Steggy sniffing Kyle's hand. "Great idea," I said. While we were looking through books for photos of Stegosauruses, the printout from the HowWeirdCanYouGet.com fell out of the book. We printed the page with the ad we wanted, and the other ads filled the page. I glanced at them and started to laugh. "Hey, listen to this. Make your bicycle fly." "Oh yeah," said Kyle. He slid over to read over my shoulder. "Talk to your fish? Ever wanted to own a fish?" he asked. "Live specimens of mythical creatures. Ooh, that would be cool." Kyle and I looked at each other and grinned. "But let's just start with a dinosaur," I said.